I played straight up. I just played like, I want to say the A word, but I'm not going to do that. But I just played like trash. Played terrible, and really just got to be better.
One of these days, I'm going to have to give a press conference like that. Listen, week 4 picks.
Didn't have it.
I'm sorry, I didn't have it. I prognosticated like trash. I just got to get better. I'll do that. I haven't done that yet, but I'm sure
We'll
it's
set up
coming.
like a podium in front of the Applebee's logo.
100%. We'll
Perfect.
figure that out. Welcome to Dumpsville, Justin Fields.
Yeah,
appreciate him
it's
owning
over.
it. Appreciate him understanding and appreciating that. But the fact of the matter is like, you're not running as much as we need you to. You're not throwing as much.
Not throwing at all.
I mean, he's QB 31 on the season. He's QB 31 on the season. He's on pace to throw less than 1,700 yards. He's on pace for 11 passing touchdowns and 23 interceptions.
Not where you want to be.
Not.
If you drafted Justin Fields
to be.
and you're holding on, stop doing that right now and find a streaming option. And that's what we're here to do right now.
We are. He's rostered in 52% of leagues. It needs to be 0.
Yeah.
It needs to be 0% of leagues until we see something on the field. We just haven't seen it yet. A guy that needs to be rostered, I think, in 100% of leagues, even if you have a quarterback, because there's always somebody who needs a quarterback, Jared Goff. of your Detroit Lions. Let's hear it for Jared Goff.
Absolutely. 7 touchdown passes through 3 games, and he's got a feast in front of him in Seattle right now. They are allowing a league-high 8.8 yards per pass attempt. It's time to fire up Goff, or at least have him in the holster, right?
Yeah, I mean, through 3 games, he's the 11th best quarterback in fantasy.
It's crazy.
Again, we've said this on this show many, many times. Give Jared Goff a clean pocket, he's fine. And so they've got some weapons there. They've got actually a pass-friendly offense. The defense is bad enough that they're going to have to continue to throw as well. Jared Goff is not, when you say, well, sometimes with fantasy, you're like, is this a fluke? The fact of the matter is again, Jared Goff has been a QB1 in fantasy before over the course of a season. It was a couple years ago in LA, but as we always say, once you display a skill, you own it. And so he owns that skill. He is fantasy viable 100%. I don't think this is a fluke. He has a lot of nice weapons around him with Hawkinson and Swift and, of course, our sun god. So, yeah, give me some Jared Goff. To me, he needs to be 100% rostered.
Another guy available in almost 60% of leagues, Jameis Winston. Now, I know the touchdowns haven't been there, Matthew, but the pass attempts are going up each week, 40-plus in each of the last 2 weeks. Feels like they're starting to let Jameis be Jameis at this point.
A little bit. Now I want to see what the health is like for Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry. Both left the game with injuries last week. Chris Olave had a monster game as well. He was great, by the way. If for some reason Chris Olave is available in your league, he needs to obviously be rostered because that's coming, and that's coming soon. But yeah, I like the matchup this week against the Vikings, right, who allow the 4th most passing yards per game. We expect Minnesota to be able to score on the New Orleans Saints. So Winston, I think, is a viable streaming option so far this week. He's QB 17 on the season. That's about right. He's a mid-tier QB2 with some upside in the right matchup. I think against the Vikings on Sunday is the right matchup.
All right, let's get to desperation hours here. Geno Smith available in over 90% of leagues. He's got the Lions, who have given up a lot of points to virtually everybody at this point. Is Geno Smith a desperation play right now?
He's viable. I mean, he's had 17 or more fantasy points and multiple touchdowns in 2 out of 3 games so far this season. He was a top 7 fantasy quarterback last week. Again, in the right matchup where he's having to throw and having to run around a little bit, we think that could potentially happen. On the road at Detroit, we expect the Lions to put up a lot of points. We talked about with Goff. So I do think, yes, if you are desperate, I'll have Geno Smith higher this week than I normally would in a given week. It's not ideal, but do I prefer him to Justin Fields, to Daniel Jones, to some of the other guys down there at the, as you're sifting through some of these guys that you kind of got to squint and be like, maybe I can make that work. Maybe Marcus Mariota could be okay this week. I do think Geno Smith is a viable desperation play this week.
All right, let's move over to tight ends right now, and looking right at Browns tight end David Njoku, who's got the Falcons on deck. He's available in about 50% of leagues. Njoku with a big breakout in Week 3, 9 catches, 89 yards, and a touchdown.
I saw this in a bunch of leagues where basically people dropped him just before the Thursday night game. Because, I'm not going to use him. He was bad the first 2 weeks. I don't want to be stuck with this roster spot for a guy that's going to play Thursday night, so I'm going to just drop him. Of course, then Thursday night he goes out, and he's nothing short of fantastic. A 9 for 89 and as you see it there on your screen, 9 for 89 and a touchdown for David Njoku. He's playing on 90% of the pass plays so far this year. They're using him a lot if you listen to Jacoby Brissett in the post-game interview that he did on Amazon Prime after the game, they talked about how important Njoku is to their running game, which is obviously the focal point of their offense. Njoku, very good blocking tight end as well. So he's going to be playing on a ton of snaps. He's going to be out there a lot. Jesse James did not play in Thursday night, so I do think he's sort of interesting as well. It's likely his best game of the season, but I also think it's a fairly narrow target tree in Cleveland. They are going to have to throw. Moving on quickly, just a couple other guys. Bob Tonyan, he's playing the Patriots this week. He had 7 targets in week 3, tied for second on the team. Again, Sammy Watkins on the IR. Christian Watkins didn't play in that game, but feels like Bob Tonyan, who 2 years ago had a nice connection with Aaron Rodgers.
Touchdown machine.
Very touchdown dependent, unfortunately, but most tight ends are as well. And get this, through 3 weeks, Tyler Conklin has at least 7 targets in every game so far, 24 targets through the first 3 games. On the season, he's the 3rd best tight end in fantasy. Now, we will see what happens when Zach Wilson comes back, by the way, for quarterback waivers. Maybe worth stashing Zach Wilson as well, because, listen, Flacco's been productive, and we're still waiting to see what we'll get out of Zach Wilson. But I do think he's kind of interesting as well. And I already mentioned, deeper league, if you're just looking for someone to stash and hold, Gronk. I think there's a non-zero chance Gronk shows up this season. It's worth a flyer. Why not?
And if he comes back, you're getting production.
You're getting a top 10
for nothing right now.
For nothing.
It's available in every league.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and RotoWorld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from RotoWorld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.